Shalom and greetings to you all. Now you're ready for freedom. We're on the edge of a holiday that promotes your being free. But there's always a catch. You actually have to free yourself. Free. I'm free. And freedom tastes a reality. I'm free. I'm free. And I'm waiting for you to follow me. We can all be free. We've got to free ourselves. And we're going to do a brief talk about this week's reading, and then we're going to talk about the festival of unleavened bread, Passover, the festival that grants us freedom. And it really is coming at a crucial time, as I'm sure everybody everywhere must be aware of Iran's attack against Israel, the little Satan, and the Israeli response. And so, while untold billions are thrown to an Eastern European nation that's not had a free election in years, all in the name of protecting democracy, there seems to be this incredible deafening silence on helping the one true democracy and ally that the West has in the Middle East. How anyone cannot stand for the safety and security of Israel now is mind-boggling, as is these protests at the Ivy League schools in major cities shouting for the need for intifada, a violent uprising against Israel, and people shouting their support of Hamas, a terror organization. What's wrong with these people? How people cannot band together to demand the release of the innocent hostages. It's incredible. While the open hatred of Jews in Israel makes its presence felt in major cities, the screams for Palestine and freedom do not call for the freedom of those taken against their will. There's something wrong. So before we gather for the Festival of Freedom, let's take this opportunity to come together and gather, putting differences aside as we form a community, a true like-minded group, a collective consciousness of seekers, showing faith, because we respect any and all faith, love any and all love, a true fellowship, a chavura, as we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together, we're each individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her or their own way. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. Hine. Shemetachim. Hine Matov. How good, pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. Because we support each other in this community, so let's all spread love, goodwill, fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you spreading just a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's a part of your kavanah, your intention. It's what you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. It's your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. Let's take some time now. Use that intention. Send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing out, whoever you know that needs it, to the whole world. Healing and renewal for everybody. They just float through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing, renewal, and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people, it is for our pets. It's for the earth. It's the healing of the world, the tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. But part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal globally for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. Let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers always for those in need of true assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We don't know the hostages, but we pray for their release. We pray for their health. We pray for all of their recovery because we want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us. For Lisa and Elizabeth, for Suzanne and Rebecca, for Roxanne and Tommy, for the Cardinal, Barbara, for Gary and Jana, for Kenneth, Kathleen, for Carla and Mina, Jessica, for Lucy and Leanne, and Gabby, for Marilyn, Maria, for dear Charles, for Shelley, for Pam and Gloria, Andy and Stephanie and Joel, for the Builder and the D-Man, John and Maria, for Doria and Teresa, for Johnny and Fern, for Ronnie, for Connie, for Tally and Maim, for Snoopy, Danny and Nina, for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include all the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere, for everybody you know in need, and for the whole world, and for the bee. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. Circles the world. Keep finding those in need, so thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. May the source of strength bless the ones and for us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of the body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Yishmerich, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Yishmerich, may He who blessed, and I use He as a generic term, because all healing is a blessing. So let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now, this is normally the second of the two-part single reading about pure and impure worlds. This week we read part 2. Metzorah, leper, because it is a leap year, so it's split. And it's really about a very interesting concept. It's all about purification and reintegration. It's not about lepers or leprosy. It's a mistranslation, but that's okay. Last week we began an examination of priestly rules and regulations regarding conditions. Some visible, some invisible, but they have a commonality. They are treated as conditions that you can not just have, but can catch. And all of those conditions separate purity from impurity. And it's important because we're going to find out that you can catch disease and you can catch holiness. Because in many ways, they're two sides of the same condition. Fear is these conditions being able to spread like a contagion, not just to people, but to your houses as well. Leviticus 14:35. And the one whose house it is will come and tell the priest, saying, it appears like an affliction to me in the house. Now the owner of the house contemplates what's evidently some sort of mold or mildew in the walls of his house and wonders whether it exhibits a certain similarity, which the diagnosing priest could establish as actually the very same pathology to the skin disease. And it is the priest who determines these things. Seen an arrow on the doorpost, saying, this land is condemned. All the way from New Orleans to Jerusalem. It's about contagions, the spread of conditions, and it's about purification. And what a term that is. Leviticus 14:1, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, this shall be the instruction for the leper in the day of his purification. He shall be brought to the priest. The priest shall go outside the camp, and the priest shall see. And if Here the affliction of leprosy has been healed from the leper. Then the priest shall command, and one shall take 2 live pure birds, and cedar wood, scarlet and hyssop, for the one being purified. The priest is not a physician. The priest has identified the condition, and now the priest sees that the condition is healed. So what follows isn't a ritual of healing. The healing's taken place. The person has already been healed. It's a ritual of purification for the reintegration of that person. It takes place with hyssop and living water. Leviticus 14:5. And the priest shall command, and he shall slaughter one of the birds in a clay container over living water. Hyssop is the most talked about herb in the Bible. It is the herb for cleansing and purifying. It's used to put blood on the doorposts and lintels during the Passover ritual, and we're going to talk about that shortly. Now, the sacrifice has to be over living water, and it's a very important biblical term. The water of the mikvah, the ritual cleansing bath, must also be living water. The water from creation was living water. And all the cleansing and purification takes place in a particular fashion. Forget about the sacrifices. We haven't seen one since the Second Temple times. Notice instead the things we still do. And that's why the phrase over living water, ma'im chayim, is so important. Fresh water flowing from a well or other natural source, as opposed to stagnant or stored water. Notice that almost all these rituals is over living water, and that's why mikvahs are so important, even in deserts where water was scarce. They are the cleansing apparatus of living water. A return to the primordial condition of our being, the separation of the water from above and the water below. Right? You walk into any church and there is living water in which you can cleanse yourself. Now, this is a special section. It's about bringing people who are infirm back to the community. It's about the process of reintegration, because the healing and the purification is known to exist. It's not going to be if, it's simply a when. Now, we've seen the development of practices in our own time for reintegration. We have synagogues that have installed ramps to the bima for handicapped people, balloons for the deaf so they can experience the vibrating sound of the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. And as we were once responsible to return and include those who were impure to the congregation, we have to continue to learn to include the handicapped as well. It is inspirational that we can derive this essential principle from a parsha in the Torah that seems so remote to readers in a modern age. We must find new ways to help heal those in need, to help heal that return to the community. And we're going to see that there is modernization of things, because now we're going to talk about it. Because I said, we want to talk a little bit about this reading and then a little bit about Passover. The most popular and upheld of all Jewish traditions, not Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's the Passover Seder. Because families everywhere gather for the annual Seder where there is something historic, something caloric, something for everyone, freedom, the night. Tales that are thrilling, food that is filling, something for everyone. It's a brand new you that night. Waters that part, pyramids too. Bring on the plagues, the pharaohs, and you. It is a holiday that has something for everyone. Get ready for your day of freedom, my friends, because it is a very special day. Now, it's said that the biblical account of the Israelites' exodus from Egypt is one of the most popular narratives from the ancient world. It's been considered that the theme of the Jewish festival of Passover, Pesach, refers to God's instruction to the Israelites to mark their doors with the blood of a slaughtered lamb so that the Lord would pass over them on his way to kill Egypt's firstborn. You know what? It's not a bad summary. It's not the best, but it has the major highlight, just the passing over of the Lord. But following the instructions from the Bible, you could describe the holiday as the ritual of protection from death, the overcoming of bitterness, anger, and sadness in life, and joining the ranks of the holy. Now, that's a holiday. On top of that, you also get to face and understand your fear. And that has more personal meaning for many. It can apply to anyone, anytime, because those are things we all feel. It's also been said that the most popular book in the world is the Bible. And of course, you would have to agree on the criteria for the choice, but overall, people say it's the Bible. And the top three are actually the Bible, the Quran, and the little red book of Chairman Mao. Although probably by now, Harry Potter's got to be up there. Huge sales for all. But certainly less reads than sales. All three are basically religious texts, laying out the foundation of three religions. And I suggest to you that the true most popular book is the Passover Haggadah, a book that describes a single ritual. Why do I think that's the most important? There are more than 4,000 different versions. And many people have many different versions, and they do read the entire book every year. I have well over 100 different versions. It's not about how many it's sold. It's about its use and desire, and the fact that there can be 4,000 different ones, which means they all have slightly different interpretations of certain key things. Now, Haggadah is a very interesting word. It's the book, as anybody would tell you, it's the book that, we read from for Passover. But it's a word meaning telling. But we read, we don't tell. The book lays out a service. It's not the biblical one. It's from late Second Temple times, and it lays out the order for the evening. Now, the oldest one written that we have is actually from days of the Spanish Inquisition. And it makes reference to many older versions. Now, the whole layout of the process, it basically describes the events of one item in terms of like a person's ongoing annual prayer services. It's only one. And what it does is it contains this 15-step process. It's almost like a dance. And I have led seders, that's the word that means order, that do every step. And they can take sometimes the better part of 7 hours. And I've led seders that cut to the essence of the holiday, and those can be done in 30 to 45 minutes. I think a seder should take as long as you need it to take, while it is full of ritual around hand washing, wine drinking, different foods to sample. It centers around these stories that involve these 4 sons and also 4 questions, neither of which have anything to do with leaving Egypt. The closest it comes is the recitation of the 10 plagues, which many people love, and yet every single one opens with very similar lines. We were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. So what's involved? There's 4 cups of wine. There's vegetables that are dipped in water. There is a flat, dry, cracker-like bread known as matzah. Some people hate it, some people love it. It has an amazing significance. There are bitter herbs, and usually horseradish is used as the bitter herbs. Then there's something called haroset, which is a concoction of nuts, apples, and wine. It's a very sweet-tasting concoction. We undergo rituals, like dipping lettuce in salt water. We make these strange sandwiches out of the matzah and the haroset, or the matzah and the bitter herbs, or the matzah and both of them combined together. We recite the plagues of Egypt. We then search for hidden piece of matzah. We ask 4 questions, very important questions. We recite the story in the Haggadah that talks about 4 different types of children and talks about 4 different martyred rabbis. None of which really have anything to do with leaving Egypt. Then there is a festive meal, and then there's more prayers of thanks and psalms of praise. Now you can see why you can take as long or as short as you wish, depending on how much emphasis you put on each of those parts. Now Haggadah, like I said, is a word that means to tell. And it comes from Exodus 13:8. V'Haggadah l'diber bayom hahu, and you shall tell your son. Now, the words of the Talmud, in every generation, a person is obligated to view themselves as if they personally left Egypt. And in the Haggadah itself, it says, even if we were all wise, all men of understanding, all elders, all knowledgeable of Torah, it would be incumbent upon us to speak of the exodus from Egypt. There's a lack of speaking about it in this book. What it also means is to speak of freedom from constraint. Now, the prayers said during the holiday refer to Passover as Zman Charutenu, the time of our freedom. Not the time of their freedom, but our freedom, your freedom. Make it current, make it personal. It's not an evening of reading. It is an evening of storytelling and questions. You may not get answers, but all questions are welcome. Now, many of you are familiar with the famous 4 questions, the Manish, the Na. Why is this night different? And generally we have the youngest of the children ask that. What is so different? On this night, from all other nights, Manishtana, Nicole, it is different. It is a night dedicated to your ability to free yourself from the constraints of life, the things that make you a prisoner, a slave. Hence the start of every book, we were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt. The name for Egypt in biblical Hebrew was not Egypt, that's a Greek word. It was Mitzrayim. And that's a word that meant constraints. And so we were slaves to our fears, living in constraint. We allowed our fears, our Pharaoh, to keep us prisoners. Who doesn't still live that way? Maybe a little less, a little more. But we are all still slaves to our fears. This holiday is about freeing yourself. Now, I'll take you back to the meaning of the holiday. The ritual of protection from death. The overcoming of bitterness, anger, and sadness in life, and joining the ranks of the holy. All while facing and understanding your fear. But it's harder to do if you follow the modern Seder, which is what everybody grew up doing. It's way easier to do if you follow the Seder as set out in the book of Exodus. And they will take hyssop and some of the blood and place it on the 2 doorposts and on the lintel of the houses in which they will eat it. They will eat the meat in this night. They will eat it fire roasted with unleavened bread on bitter herbs. And you shall eat it like this: your hips clothed, your shoes on your feet, your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover, Pesach Hu Adonai. And I shall pass through the land of Egypt in this night, and I shall strike every firstborn in the land of Egypt, from human to animal. And I shall make judgments on the gods of Egypt. I am the Lord, and the blood will be as a sign for you on the houses in which you are, and I shall see the blood, and I shall halt at you. There won't be a plague among you as a destroyer when I strike in the land of Egypt. This day will become a commemoration for you. You shall celebrate it, a festival to the Lord. You shall celebrate it through your generations, an eternal law. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and you shall observe the unleavened bread, because in this very day I brought out your masses from the land of Egypt. Blood and hyssop on the doorposts as a sign lamb fire roasted, eaten with bitter herbs and unleavened bread. Those are the only foods mentioned. It's to be eaten quickly. Not reclining, like in our modern Seder telling, not lounging, but ready to go, ready to be free. The ritual of protection from death. Abraham sacrificed the ram in place of Isaac, and the sacrifice we make as a family to commence the evening via the blood on the doorpost. The overcoming of bitterness, anger, sadness, and life. The bitter herbs that we are instructed to eat. And in eating the bitter, we overcome it and it becomes sweet. And we get to join the ranks of the holy by eating matzah, the unleavened, egoless bread that does not rise, the bread of the priest. What a fantastic holiday. Eat those foods, tell your story of how you freed yourself. Be the example to those at your table. I'm encouraging you all, don't read the book. Tell your story of freedom. Yes, the world is sacred, my friends, and so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free. Be free. Honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. An end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together. We celebrate each other. We love each other. We share this right together, men and women equally. So let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all those who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Don't make them guess. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion everything that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our Kavanaugh. Cause, our effect. It's all linked. You have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people, and the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. Keep on dreaming. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching, keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love. It's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Open your heart and mind. Because the deepest source of true, real power lies in your consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief and what they mean to you, and never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. Because we share together, we learn together, and we help each other, because we are, each of us, trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have a special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they need. You're never alone on your journey. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Keep listening to the voice of God as he, she, it, them, they, whatever, talks to you and reminds you our bipolar world of pure and impure is a dangerous state. And it is impurity which is different. The person, the bed, the chair, the furniture, the house, all can contain the contagion, indicating that touch makes it impure entirely, instantly. It spreads without a person or object. It's not any kind of a creature like bacteria. It is a pervasive condition. And it can and usually is healed. And much of the religion is based on the given, that we do heal and we do return. I pushed my soul in a deep dark hole and followed. Met myself crawling after as I was crawling in. Then I woke up so tired I thought I'd never unwind. Saw too much man, it broke my mind. I just tried to see what condition my condition. Let's pass on the conditions of pure and impure. Let's all embrace the condition of love. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Keep sharing the light. Practice forgiveness. Be thankful. Be gracious. Be kind. Be loving. Believe in yourself. Spread a little goodwill to the world. Continue to be the miracle in someone else's life. Be an example and teach someone how you became free. Focus on those 3 key foods, but still enjoy the rest of the Seder as you've learned to do it all your lives. Have the other foods. Talk about what their meanings are, because we do get to change things. We do get to add things. There's over 4,000 different Haggadahs out there. Pick up a new one. Read from it. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. We'll see you soon.